So, remember a couple of days ago when the MLS media was talking about how not only this might finally be the year that an MLS team wins CCL, but we might actually see for the first time in CCL history that all four MLS teams make it to the semifinal, and we're going to have an all MLS CCL semifinal that basically guarantee that at least one of these four teams lift that trophy for the first time ever. Yeah, about that. And honestly, now we are just lucky if we're going to see two teams make it to the semifinal of this year edition of CCL, and that we're going to at least guarantee that one part of the semifinal will be an all MLS semifinal, and one of these MLS teams is going to reach CCL final. Because after what we saw tonight with CCL team in MLS, it's free space disappointment once again in the quarterfinal. I mean, this feels like it just happens every single year, where every year when we get to the quarterfinal, where this is really the crunch time and the big judgment time for MLS team to see if they can finally get over the mountain against Liga MX's opponent, most time they're unable to do so. And at least from what we saw in the two teams that were facing against Liga MX's team and had a chance in a way to punch their tickets into the semifinal, we saw one team come up short, and then one team basically straight out implode when they went down to Mexico to play in that second leg. So let's talk about the team that, of course, came up short. And oh, by the way, I forgot to also mention, I am also going to be reviewing yesterday's game between Comunicaciones versus NYCFC, because I wasn't able to review that yesterday. But let us actually first talk about the team that just came up short, which is Montreal versus Cruz Azul. And of course, Montreal has that luxury of becoming the only MLS team to face a Liga MX opponent in the second leg, but unfortunately, they weren't able to take advantage of it. And in some way, I thought in this game for Montreal, they didn't really play bad in this game, but that away goal that they conceded right on the stroke of halftime, like, that was just an absolute killer, and that really kind of just took out any chance for Montreal to potentially move on into the next round. But early on in this game, 5 minutes in, I thought Cruz Azul was already time wasting and enable full CCL shithousery, which is not a big surprise because we've seen this happen every time with Liga MX's team when they play against an MLS team on the road, where they're just there to hope to hold on. And in this case, Cruz Azul thought that maybe they can just hold on to this 1-0 aggregate score that they got in the first leg and get a 0-0 draw to move on into the next round. Though, that being said, they did also create some chances early on too, as in the 8th minute, Romero header just went wide before Brisa absolutely robbed Antuna, who was going through on goal. I mean, it was almost a similar goal that Earl Antuna scored against Montreal like he did in the first leg, but Brisa this time was able to deny him there. But I thought it was not a good start for Montreal at all. And one of the reasons why Montreal was very successful against Santos Laguna in the last round, in that second leg, is they got off to a fast start, and they got that early goal that really gave them the momentum. And with the way that they did not get that early goal, and also almost conceding an early goal in this one, you just kind of sense that, yeah, maybe this is not going to be like Santos Laguna, where they can just walk over Cruz Azul in this one. And I didn't expect that was the case, because we know that Cruz Azul is much stronger than Santos Laguna, at least this year, in the Clausura season in Liga MX, or was it the Apertura season? I always get that confused. But either way, going back to this game, Rodriguez had an opportunity for Cruz Azul to get the opening goal, but he hits one straight to Brisa. And I thought, despite Montreal did start to control the possession, they were not creating any chances in the final third against this Cruz Azul defense. And credit to this Cruz Azul defense being very organized. But this has kind of been the issue for Montreal, not only in this game, but also in league play too, where they just have had problems in terms of creating some chances against their opposition. Though in the 29th minute, Kyoto did have Montreal's first big opportunity, but he just could not quite hit that one in. I thought Montreal did eventually start to gain some traction and look for the lead before halftime. Kyoto had another opportunity, as this time he actually went through on goal, but unfortunately he missed that one wide. And even if he put that one in, it wouldn't have counted because the flag went up. And just as we thought that this game was going to head scoreless heading into the second half, this is where the killer goal that Montreal gave up right on the stroke of halftime. That pretty much sealed their fate of not moving on into the next round, because in the 43rd minute, it's Antuna scoring once again against Montreal here in the second leg from Romero to give Cruz Azul a 1-0 lead and a 2-0 aggregate scoreline. And I also wrote game, set, and match for Montreal, because that away goal from Cruz Azul not only was important, but now it means that Montreal would have to score 3 goals. And with the way how Montreal play up to that point, I didn't think they had any shot in terms of scoring 3 goals, unless if Wilfried Nancy team can make a big adjustment heading into the second half. And at least that doesn't seem like it was the case in the early moment in the second half, because as we go into the second half, once again, Montreal has a lot of possession, but no way through this bunker of a Cruz Azul defense, and they just could not create any opportunity. Though that being said, Kamara did try to toe poke that one into the back post. It was a beautiful ball that was delivered into the box, but Kamara just could not slide down to toe poke that one. In fact, he actually take double punishment, because not only he wasn't able to toe poke it in, he actually clashed onto the left side of the post. Now, fortunately, when he clashed it onto the post, I think his knee kind of banged into the post instead of the you-know-what area that kind of bang into the post. And, that still, of course, does hurt. But, again, as I said, you probably know what area I'm talking about, where Kamara was very lucky that he did not clash onto the post as he's trying to toe poke that one in. Though 2 minutes later, he had another opportunity, but this time he missed high from close range, and Montreal was definitely pressing to try to get the equalizer. Kyoto once again went through on goal, but this time Gerardo was able to make a big save there to deny him there. But then in the 79th minute, there was life for Montreal, because Camacho would score from Torres to tie the game up at 1 apiece, and that, Montreal was only down 2 goals in the aggregate scores. And even though Montreal throughout this game wasn't creating a lot of opportunity, you kind of sense that if they can just get that 1 goal, the floodgates would actually open. And in the 81st minute, it looked like it did open, but unfortunately Miller blasted that one high from close range. And then in the 90th minute, as time winds down, where Montreal was desperately trying to get that second goal to set up a grandstand finish, Gerardo come up with an incredible double save, robbing Kyoto twice in that near post. And yeah, in the end, Cruz Azul was able to hang on their aggregate score, and despite the fact that they tied this game against Montreal, they're able to move on into the next leg, 2-1 in terms of the aggregate score. Shots in this one, 16 shots compared to 9 that Cruz Azul has, 6 shots on goal compared to 5 that Cruz Azul has, 5 shots off target compared to 3 that Cruz Azul has, 5 shots out of block compared to 1 that Cruz Azul has, and possession-wise, 67% possession compared to 33% possession that Cruz Azul has in this game. And again, despite the fact that Montreal kind of outplayed Cruz Azul, especially in the second half, they just could not be as clinical as they did against Santos, and not to mention giving up that away goal in the 43rd minute. That was just an absolute killer for them, because if they have not give up that away goal, this game would have gone to a PK shootout. And I know, obviously, MLS team tends to not have a good record in a PK shootout in CCL, as we'll talk about how this, of course, was the case between Pumas and New England. At least it still gave Montreal a chance to move on into the next round, which unfortunately that was not the case because of them giving up that away goal right on the stroke of halftime. Now, moving on in terms of the next match between Pumas and New England, and I've said this when I talk about how these MLS team won 3-0 against their Liga MX opponent in the first leg. I said that it's great that of course happened, but that doesn't mean this 2-leg affair is over, because I've seen this before, where whenever MLS team go down to Mexico to play Liga MX opponent, not only they struggle against them, but historically they always find ways to lose a 2-legged affair. And in this game, New England basically found another way to do so, and that is just a complete implosion in this one against a Pumas team that I think Pumas they could have even finished New England in regular time if they were just a little bit more clinical against this Revs team. In the first half, Dinero hits one straight to Edwards, and by the way, Dinero, he had a really good game in this one, and in some way, New England just had no answer in terms of his movement and the amount of time that he was able to find himself in good spot to score a goal. But there was no doubt that Pumas was pressing for an early goal in this one. Though in the 17th minute, Buxa, I thought he should have scored in this play as he missed despite being wide open in the 12-yard box. And despite the fact that I've also said that, Pumas kind of dominate New England in this game, the Revs had some chances in this game. And I know this might sound cliche, but how many times I've said before where if you are the underdog heading into this game, which New England certainly was, you have to take advantage of the limited chances that you have, because if you're not able to take advantage of it, it is going to haunt you back, and it definitely haunt New England back with those big opportunity and those rare opportunity that they had against Pumas in this one. In the 24th minute, Edwards was able to deny Mozo from close range. The shots was 7-2 in favor of Pumas. Ruggiero then hits one straight to Edwards, but then in the 33rd minute, Pumas got the opening goal, and it's that man Danilo scoring from Ruggiero to give Pumas a 1-0 lead. And after that, Pumas, they definitely smell blood because they were putting heavy pressure against the Revs, and it just feels like the Revs were crumbling, like what we saw in that game against RSL. And that I was just kind of hoping that they need to ride this one out and get to halftime only down 1-0, because whatever tactics that Bruce Arena decided to use in this game clearly did not work. And I had a feeling that his tactics was basically just park the bus and hope for the best. Now, in the second half, in the 46th minute, New England actually had an opportunity to tie the game up as Bo hit one just wide from close range. But then 3 minutes later, after that missed opportunity, Pumas pulled within one goal of tying the aggregate score. And it's that man again, Danilo, scoring from Ruggiero to make it 2-0 in favor of Pumas. Though I feel like Edwards should have done better in terms of this sequence. And, so far, I think Earl Edwards have done a good job in terms of relieving Matt Turner in this early season for the Revs. But, that is certainly ones that he would love to have back, especially, Danilo, he did kind of hit that one well, but it just feels like that was the one that, if Matt Turner was there, Turner probably would have saved that one. But instead, Pumas, of course, taking the 2-0 lead. And like I said, at that point, I'm pretty sure every Revs fan in Boston was started to get really nervous because they've seen this story before with their team. And I'm pretty sure every MLS team, including myself, I was saying that, free space is upon us once again, because I've seen this story before when an MLS team face adversity when they play a Liga MX opponent down in Mexico, and they basically come out with that losing that time. Merito then blasted high from close range in the 52nd minute as Pumas had all the momentum up to that point. I mean, it wasn't just the momentum, the fact that they looked like they're going to score that third goal anytime soon, but they also had the advantage of the altitude and the Pumas atmosphere. By the way, I can't tell you how many times that John Strong mentioned the altitude in this one. Like, I get it, John Strong. I get that the altitude is an issue because, they are playing 7,000 feet in this compared to just playing 300 feet down at Gillette Stadium. But one thing that I don't think they mention a lot, and that's John Strong and Muadu, is the atmosphere. I mean, the atmosphere was absolutely electric in this one, and especially after that second goal, you can definitely feel like that Pumas supporters were trying to will this team to score that third goal, and it really kind of become 12v11 where that 12th man from Pumas really started to come. But that being said, in the 55th minute, Talavera, who up to that point was relatively quiet, he actually had to make a big save here to deny Heel from 16 yards out. Before on the other end, Danilo trying to score a hat-trick here, but he flashed one wide on the free header. The Revs defense was in absolute shambles. Like, they just, for a team that was thinking about parking the bus, this was definitely not a way to park the bus and trying to put a low block against a team that is chasing for a game. Like, there was just so much holes that this Pumas team was able to exploit. And I also feel like every time when Pumas go on the attack, especially stretching this Revs team, this Revs team just had no answer whatsoever. And lo and behold, that third goal did eventually come from Pumas, and it came in the 60th minute as former RSL player Bofo Salcedo would score the third goal to make it 3-0 in favor of Pumas. And up to that point, I basically just wrote, Revs are going to lose this. Like, I mean, it's not just because of the fact that this is kind of sums up in terms of New England's luck in terms of knockout competition in their franchise history. But this is also an example of an MLS team clearly is under a lot of duress, and usually MLS team doesn't come out with a victory if not any MLS team comes out with a victory when they are under duress facing a Liga MX team in Mexico. And I also wrote the narrative will continue where whenever an MLS team face against a Liga MX team, especially down in Mexico, they aren't able to overcome them. Dinello then trying to score his hat trick again, but he hits it wide from close range before Buxa puts it high from close range in the 65th minute. I mean, Buxa, what a frustrating night he has, and this is also kind of the reason why maybe some teams in Europe is a little bit skeptical of signing Adam Buxa, because you sometimes have these games where, you know, when he has a lot of opportunity to basically score, he isn't able to put one away. And you know, when you're a number 9 and you're giving that many opportunities, especially against a superior team, you have to put away those opportunity. And I also kind of wrote New England really need to put away their limited chances, because when you don't put away those limited chances, it's going to come back to haunt you, like I said earlier. Then we saw a kind of a classic CCL moment where Altidore basically gets a yellow card for apparently laughing at the referee, and basically a classic CCL moment there, because apparently, again, the refereeing in this competition, I've said it many times before, it is absolutely atrocious. Though I will say that maybe has reached a peak CCL kind of ref moment where I've seen a lot of bad decisions, but that is probably right up there as one of the worst one too. Because when is we have ever seen a situation where a player maybe laugh at? I mean, I've seen before where players maybe sarcastically did something and it's worth wearing a yellow card, but here Altidore just kind of just laugh at the referee and he gets a yellow card for that. I mean, that happens every day. So yeah, that was kind of weird to see, which again, not surprised given the refereeing quality in this competition. But as the time winds down, I thought both teams kind of started to push for that crucial next goal. I mean, I talked about Pumas, they were really putting pressure, but I thought New England, as this game winds down, they really started to kind of getting more chances that they did not get for the majority of the first 60 minutes of this one. Dinello had a chance to give Pumas the 4th goal, and once again had a chance to score his hat trick, but once again he missed wide from close range. The shots went 19-6 in favor of Pumas. Merito had an opportunity from close, but he hits that one high. Before, in the 90th minute, Talavera absolutely robbed Omar Gonzalez from a point blank effort there. And by the way, when I saw this happen, this instantly reminds me of what happened back in 2018 in that CCL final. Where, remember back in that 2018 CCL final when TFC played against Chivas, and how Delgado had a big opportunity to give TFC I believe at that point was the second goal to basically seal the aggregate score in favor of TFC and becoming the first MLS team to lift the trophy. Yeah, that moment kind of was a big flashback after seeing this. Although in this case, to the credit of Talavera, he actually made a big save here, and that if he didn't make that big save, we would have had maybe a reverse moment, and that Gonzalez would have scored that crucial away goal that pretty much put this game out of reach. But instead, on the other end, after that incredible save from Talavera, Pumas actually had a big opportunity to win it right at the death too, and once again send more heartbreak toward MLS team in CCL. But Edwards was making sure that was not the case, at least at that point, as he denied Ortiz in the front post. So that means we are going to get to a penalty kick shootout. And notice I didn't write the PK shootout on this board because I ran out of space. So I'm going to use my travel board in terms of talk about what happened in the PK shootout. And as I said, you know, MLS team, they do not have a good history in PK shootout in CCL. And I just kind of had a feeling coming into this one, yeah, most likely Pumas is going to win the PK shootout, and indeed that was the case. But first, after 2 successful penalty kick that was converted, both goalkeeper actually made a save in round 3, though in round number 4, Legit skies that one over the bar, while in the crucial 5th round, Dinello was able to convert the winning penalty for Pumas to basically win the PK shootout 4-3 in favor of the Rams. And yeah, that of course was the result that gave Pumas the win in this two-legged affair. And the shots in this one, 25 shots compared to 7 that the Revs had, 3 shots on goal compared to 11 that Pumas has, 6 shots off target compared to 4 that New England has, 8 shots that was blocked compared to erase part of this number, but that number is actually 0 in favor of the Revs. But possession-wise, 62% possession compared to 38% possession that New England has in this game. And yeah, I mean, again, I think after this game, and if you're a Seattle Sounders fan after watching this, you know that you are now even less confident about what's going to happen in tomorrow's game against Leon in the second leg. And I'm also hoping that, you know, Brian Schmetzer maybe watch this game and realize that, yeah, maybe we're not going to do what Bruce Arena did in this one. Because, again, I think Bruce Arena clearly got it wrong in this one. And in some way, this is almost kind of very classic Bruce Arena, at least in these last couple of years, where it just feels like anytime when a Bruce Arena team play in a crucial game, they always falter. I mean, because I thought Bruce Arena clearly got it wrong in this one, and it just feels like these last couple of years when Bruce Arena has coached in these kind of games, he always tends to get it wrong in terms of the tactics. I mean, a good example of that was what happened in 2017, which you probably know what happened in that infamous night of U.S. men's national team history against Trinidad and Tobago. And here, you know, just parking the bus against a Liga MX team in Mexico will never work. And again, I hope Brian Schmetzer probably watched this game and definitely took that notes. I mean, in some way, I think he doesn't even need to take that notes, because I think he also talked about how that is not how we're going to play when we play Leon down in Mexico. And again, let's just hope Seattle will not fall into the same victim of what happened with New England in this one. Just a complete, total collapse against Pumas in this one to fail to move on into the semifinal. But that being said, now I am going to switch words and talk about yesterday's game between Comunicaciones versus NYCFC. So speaking of implosion, we almost had an implosion in this game too by an MLS team in CCL. And for NYCFC, they almost gone back to their 2016 to 2020 playoff form, where, remember doing that stretch when they made it to the playoffs, they always find a way to lose in the playoffs. And if NYCFC would have given up one more goal against Comunicaciones, or in other words, if Comunicaciones would have won 5-2 against NYCFC, this will be right up there in terms of the biggest implosion I've seen NYCFC had in the knockout stage. Probably right up there in terms of what happened in 2020 when they were on the wrong end of a very famous or infamous PK shootout against Orlando City. Now, early on in the first half, Samayoa was able to hit it high from close range, as I thought Comunicaciones started out the better side. And one thing that I knew coming into this game is that, yeah, Comunicaciones is definitely going to bring it. I mean, I think back in that first leg, I thought they actually play relatively well. I mean, the scoreline, of course, doesn't indicate that, but they really at time make NYCFC very uncomfortable, and they were once again doing the same thing here heading into the second leg. Johnson had to deny Carina as Comunicaciones. Actually, during this save, these Comunicaciones player was shouting that the ball did cross the line there, and that when you look on the replay, boy, it is close, because when Johnson basically saved this one from the shot that Carina has, well, it wasn't actually a shot, but more kind of like a header where it bounced off to the turf. It looked like Johnson just was able, though, to keep that one out before the ball crosses the line. I mean, I'm pretty sure that VAR did take a very good look at it, and I know for sure that in CCL they don't have goal line technology, but yeah, it was definitely very close, but it also was in a very close way where it was definitely not clear and obvious, and there wasn't really enough definitive evidence that the ball, of course, crossed the line to overturn the call. So in the end, it was a right call, and the game remains 0-0. But then in the 31st minute, NYCFC would actually surprisingly take the lead, because up at that point, this was all Comunicaciones, and this was really the first shot that NYCFC had, and it's Castellanos who, of course, scored on an incredible free kick from about 25 yards out. I mean, I didn't know Tati Castellanos can strike those free kick. I mean, you do kind of also had to question the wall there from Comunicaciones. They didn't really set the wall really well, but give credit to Tati Castellanos realizing that and just kind of bends that one around the wall and beat Moscoso on that right side of the post. And yeah, pretty much against the run of play, NYCFC not only got that 1-0 lead, but they got that crucial away goal that you're just thinking, yeah, pretty much Comunicaciones had no chances in terms of coming back, because up to that point, I think the aggregate score was like 4-1. I mean, Comunicaciones had to score like 3 goals to even send this one to a PK shootout. Although that their bet of potentially complete that miraculous comeback did start in the 45th minute, as Lascano would actually tie the game up at 1 apiece. I mean, it was not good defending whatsoever from NYCFC in that play, but yeah, that of course tied the game up at 1 apiece. And again, you know, the old cliche, it always sucks the fact that you give up on the stroke of halftime. And for NYCFC, even though I know they still had the 2-goal advantage, it must be definitely a little bit frustrated, at least for Ronnie Daly, at the fact that they gave up right on the stroke of halftime. But in the second half, you know, Comunicaciones realized that maybe this two-legged affair isn't over, and that, you know, I also thought that when Comunicaciones scored that tying goal, there should be some alarm bell ring to this NYCFC team too, because we know that this Comunicaciones team is not going to go away, because in the 47th minute, they almost pulled within one on the aggregate score, as the post denied Laren and Comunicaciones a second goal. But then in the 53rd minute, NYCFC got even a bigger cushion in terms of the aggregate score, as Magno would score here from Castellanos to make it 2-1 in favor of NYCFC. And, you know, at that point, I'm pretty sure everybody knew that this game is all over, and that, you know, maybe NYCFC can just coast their way through. And at least that's what Ronnie Daly would think, because he decided to make 4 changes and start putting some of his reserve. But little did we know that changes that he made would turns out to come back to almost haunt them. And little did we also know that 40 minutes after when Magno scored the second goal, this would have been the goal that was the reason why NYCFC would move on into the next round by the skin of their teeth. But in the 60th minute, Samayoa tried to poke it into the back post, but it missed wide. Comunicaciones was definitely pressing for that second goal, and Samayoa actually gets on the score sheet just 9 minutes later, as he scored here to tie the game up at 2 apiece. But then 3 minutes later, Garcia would score from Laren to make it 3-2 in favor of Comunicaciones, and the aggregate score was at 5-4. And all of a sudden, I wrote, NYCFC started to revert back to their 2015 and 2020 playoff form, because this looked like the implosion is about to happen. And then in the 88th minute, it seemed like it was bound to happen, because Contreras would score to make it 4-2 in favor of Comunicaciones. And by the way, you know, when we saw in the first leg with a lot of these Guatemalan fans definitely celebrate seeing their team getting the equalizer in the 60th minute, and they were kind of going nuts. Oh, they were definitely going nuts in this game, especially when that 4th goal went in. You can definitely see the whole stadium, which, you know, it was half empty when this game was playing Guatemala C, but that was probably the loudest I've heard a stadium in Central America that is not at Saprissa Stadium, because they think that they believe that something miraculous was going to happen. And then late in this game, they continued to push to trying to get that 5th goal. Santis had a header that just missed right, as Comunicaciones again pressing for a dramatic comeback, and NYCFC was on the tightest rope possible. Garcia missed just high from a long range effort. Well, actually, he didn't just miss high; it actually goes way high there, before Anagno missed just a little bit high on the header in the 5th minute of stoppage time. And in the end, despite the fact that NYCFC looked like they were on verge of imploding, they survived and able to move on into the next leg, and still becoming the only MLS team to move on into the semi-final, as they despite losing 4-2 in this one, able to advance on the away goal in a 5-5 aggregate score. And the shots in this one, 22 shots compared to just 5 that NYCFC had, 2 shots on goal compared to 10 that Comunicaciones had, 9 shots off target compared to 1 that NYCFC had, 3 shots that was blocked compared to 2 that NYCFC had, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that Comunicaciones has. And I know that I'm not sure if there's such a thing as the CCL gods there, but I feel like maybe the CCL gods, you know, they kind of gave some mercy to NYCFC in this game. But you know how the old saying, the sports god always demand payment for some fortunate resort. I think maybe this was when NYCFC was gifted by the CCL gods, but the payment was what happened in tonight's resort, because yeah, this game was just way too close for comfort. I mean, I know a lot of NYCFC fans will say that they weren't sweating when this of course we're at 4-2 in favor of Comunicaciones, and the aggregate score was tied at 5 apiece. But believe me, I bet every of them were thinking about what is going to happen next, and it looked like they're back. It seems like NYCFC is back to their old self of a team that always find way to choke in both big moments like what we see in the knockout stage. But again, in the end, they're moving on into the next round, and now they're just going to be waiting for the winner of tomorrow's matchup between the Seattle Sounders versus Leon. But yeah, either way, that is pretty much it for the review of all 3 of these games. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this video? And yeah, let's just pray that tomorrow Seattle will not make the same mistake that New England has, and at least we're going to have an all MLS semifinal in one of the bracket that guarantee at least one MLS team that's going to be going to CCL. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.